Water molecules are the most sensitive molecule in nature to frequency of any type. If you take a cell phone that's turned on and you hold a bottle of water, particularly glass is better, but if you hold a bottle of water in your hand and have somebody approach you, you can literally feel the water start buzzing with energy. And remember, your body is a healthy person, 65 to 70% water, but by molecular count, if you count all the molecules in your body, you're 99% water by molecular count. Which means you are picking up and responding to every single electromagnetic frequency in the environment.
They're not just poisoning the water supply with fluoride and PFAS and forever chemicals and pharmaceuticals and even liquefied dead people via aquamation. They're irradiating the water supply to make people sick. And this is a well-known consequence of EMF exposure. It's not just that they're pumping radiation into the air. It basically gets transferred into the water molecules, and that gets transferred into your body and has a huge impact on the molecular chemistry and the biochemistry that's responsible for keeping you healthy. And so cell towers and cell phones are much more dangerous than people think. A lot of people think they're safe and effective like the vaccines, but what we're finding out is that basically most of this technology that we're being exposed to isn't safe or effective at all. With the vaccines, we're looking at 10 pages of side effects. But with this EMF technology, cell phones, cell towers, and the like, the consequences are potentially much higher. Insurance companies don't even want to underwrite the liability associated with this technology, and major cell tower companies have warned their shareholders that if lawsuits come up, they're going under because nobody wants to insure them, because they already know that this technology is basically beyond lethal. And it's one of the reasons why we're seeing major cancer clusters around cell towers and schools. And public schools are beginning to apply EMF shielding to protect their students. Now the question is, why aren't regular people applying EMF shielding to protect themselves? Well, many people are. EMF shielding has become a multi-billion-dollar industry because people know just how dangerous the environment has become. All you have to do is drive around with an EMF meter and you'll realize just how radioactive the environment is. It's not radio silent, it's radioactive. Now you might be thinking it's safe and effective because it's non-ionizing. And that's basically what or how they classify microwave radiation. It's non-ionizing, so it's safe. But these cell towers, cell phones, Wi-Fi, and the like basically operate at the same frequency as a microwave oven. I don't think anybody would classify a microwave oven as being safe or the radiation from a microwave oven as being safe, because you can cook meat with these microwaves, with this non-ionizing radiation. And that means it causes damage to the tissue. It denatures the proteins, and that's why it cooks in a microwave. And so the radiation isn't safe or effective. It's why they put restrictions on exposure. If it was so safe, there wouldn't be any need for restrictions on EMF exposure. But there are, because it's not safe. And there's countless white papers saying that it's not safe. Tens of thousands of scientists saying that it's not safe, just like the vaccines. Even the Department of Defense will tell you that this technology causes cancer. It makes people sick. It wreaks havoc on the immune system, on the nervous system, and the like. And much of the things that we're seeing in society today, like MS or Parkinson's, is probably related to EMF exposure. These people are twitching because basically they're short-circuiting. And all of this radiation has just huge effects on human biology. But it gets worse because every type of technology has a military application. And for decades, governments have been using EMF as an instrument of destruction, as a way of killing people, especially those that are undesirable. And for decades, they were microwaving Catholics in the UK because they didn't like them. And this kind of thing has been going on around the world. They basically irradiate the people they don't like because there's plausible deniability. Microwave weapons don't leave holes in the walls. They don't make, gun sounds and the like. It's basically the perfect weapon, and it's why it's been used for decades. And there's all sorts of EMF weapons out there today, and the technology is much more advanced than people think. A lot of people have been talking about DEWs in terms of Maui and the Texas wildfires and the like, but it goes way beyond lasers that cause fires. Essentially, this technology is used to cause cancers. It's used to cause heart attacks and strokes. It's used to cause severe flu-like symptoms. And we've done reports on this based on Pentagon interviews where they're like, acute radiation exposure is exactly like flu-like symptoms. And this is why people got the COVID after they rolled out the 5G. But in its weaponized form, and here we see public schools shielding classrooms from cell towers. In their weaponized form, EMF radiation is the perfect weapon. It can kill in seconds. It can cause cancers and other natural-looking diseases, if you will. And nobody's really suspicious about what happens when people get taken out by these weapons. But this is a major concern now because we're getting tons of reports from people online that are being affected by these types of weapons. And it's even been in the news. They call it the Havana syndrome and the like, but it's happening worldwide. This is next generation warfare. And there's countless people online right now being tortured and killed by these weapons. And chances are you're being affected by these weapons right now and you don't even know it because it's part of a social credit score system, and it's using the silent weapons doctrine basically to take people out without them knowing it. And so it is a rather complicated issue because there isn't, this laser beam coming through your wall that you can see so that you can, really understand what's happening. But if you've been experiencing the 5G symptoms like most other people these days, chronic fatigue, recurring headaches, heart palpitations, vertigo, ringing in the ears, the sudden onset of pain not associated with an injury, chances are you're being targeted by this system. You're being targeted by energy weapons that are controlled by artificial intelligence. And they basically track you wherever you go. And the coverage is basically like cell phone coverage. And there's really no escaping it. The question that most people have is it really happening? Oh, it's definitely really happening because there's at least 7 major manufacturers of directed energy weapons right now, and most of them are publicly traded companies like Boeing and the like. And this industry is booming, to say the least. And so we know that they've been mass producing energy weapons for decades now. And the whole premise of 5G technology is actually to make beams that will target people. Beamforming technology, that's what it's all about. So the technology definitely exists. The applications are definitely possible. The question is, would these people on television actually do that? And the answer is, well, yes. Because even if you're not a critic or a dissident, even if you're a loyal sheeple, they'll line you up and inject you with the death vax and have you drink the Kool-Aid. They're more than capable of genociding people for whatever cause. And we know, based on revelations from weapons experts, government insiders, and victims, and even videos, that this is happening. We know that people are being targeted. And this is where basically the whole term targeted individual comes from. There's tons of people being targeted by energy weapons right now. So it isn't really a question of, is it happening? It's definitely happening. The question is it happening to you? Chances are it already is, like many other people. And if it isn't happening to you yet, it will definitely happen to you. You will be targeted by this system as they basically try to eliminate 90% of the world's population. And if they can't get you through vaccines or GMOs, they're going to try and get you through these death towers. And that's the sad reality of our situation right now. We're dealing with weapons that most people can't even understand. Most people don't really understand how their cell phones work, let alone how directed energy weapons work. But basically, the technology is so advanced that it can track you wherever you go. And it can hit you with surgical precision in a way that mimics stages of a disease. And this technology has been massively rolled out and integrated into the smart city grid, if you will. This has been planned out for decades. And we've been doing an awareness campaign on all the different angles of this technology. But it's basically beyond a doubt that this is happening, that people are being targeted as we speak, and not just a few people. This is on an industrial scale. This is an industrial genocide, if you will. And the best part is that it all looks like natural causes: heart attacks, strokes, and cancers. That way, there's no reason to get upset. There's no reason to protest. There's no reason to defend yourself, to protect yourself. There's no reason to bring the rope, because basically it all looks like climate change. And from our perspective, if it's not climate change, then it must be the vaccines. But pay attention to what's happening to conservatives and Christians and purebloods worldwide. They're being targeted and getting taken out right now. It's not just Donald Trump or, Alex Jones on InfoWars and stuff like that. They're taking people out with energy weapons behind the scenes. Usually they'll silence you and censor you and make you disappear online, and then basically they make you disappear in the real world. And many people have been victimized already. We've covered the list extensively, but many activists and people that have been doing reports online have been taken out. People that people that maybe you didn't know. But famous names like Rush Limbaugh, Ed Schultz, Brandy Vaughn, Dr. Nowak, Dr. Zelenko, and David Dees, and many, many more. Mike Morales from Above Ground World News, recently taken out. But it's not just people that are speaking up. It's basically everyone that doesn't line up with the socialist, communist, woke agenda. These people have been pre-selected for elimination, And they've basically delegated the task to artificial intelligence. And this is part of a wider agenda known as the transhuman agenda. You've probably heard the people from the WEF saying you're going to get the brain chip, Elon Musk saying you're going to get the brain chip. The plan is to assimilate humanity. There's no other way to put it. These people are like the Borg. And they already know if you're going to get the brain chip based on the fact on whether or not you got the vaccine. And so if you didn't get the vaccine, you're probably not going to get the brain chip, and that's why this system will come after you. We talk about this scenario and these weapons in the book Transhuman Genocide, and we strongly recommend that you check it out, not only because it tells the story of what's to come, but also because it gives you the solutions to these energy weapons, which is basically military-grade EMF shielding. Classic shielding materials won't work against these weapons. Just, aluminum foil or mylar isn't going to cut it against these weapons because they're using hybrid weapons that are partly particle beams or high-speed particles in nature, as well as other forms of radiation, X-rays, microwaves, and the like. You basically need military-grade shielding to protect yourself, but you can't find that anywhere online. It's just like the lead paint. It's like the ivermectin. It's like the hydroxychloroquine. They don't want you to have what it takes to survive. And so basically, you have to make it yourself. This book has all of the recipes to make it yourself with stuff that you can find online. And so we strongly recommend that you check it out. This book is on Amazon. You can get the Kindle version, the paperback version. There's a PDF version on our Patreon page as well. But basically, check this book out. You can read a free sample on the Amazon website, Transhuman Genocide. It will tell you exactly what you need to know about this radiation, these weapons, and how to protect yourself. And this isn't a gimmick. I mean, this is really happening. And people are being targeted by this. And we've got countless weapons experts coming online, basically, divulging state secrets, telling you what these things do, showing you the technology. We see the victims. We see people getting disappeared. And historically speaking, microwaving dissidents is just, what government does. It just so happens that now Americans and patriots and Christians and purebloods are the new dissidents. We're the new enemies of the state because we don't conform with their woke agenda. And if you plan on fighting, if you plan on being part of the human resistance, if you plan on surviving, you're definitely going to need shielding. People that have tasted this technology, and there are many people that have tasted this technology, will tell you that, the government's plan is basically to deny you basic services. They're going to target you as you go to the store to go shopping for groceries. They're going to target you at work. They're going to target you while you sleep. It's going to be impossible for you to basically live once this system is after you. And it's only a matter of time before your number comes up. And our recommendation is that it's better to have this type of shielding and not need it than need this type of shielding and not have it. Because if you get ambushed by these weapons, if your number comes up and they're basically in a hurry to eliminate you, you won't have time to make a safe room. You won't have time to, wait for your supplies to arrive. You won't have time to put it together. And we can't stress this enough, because once you've seen what these weapons do to people, the torture and the pain that these people go through, you realize that this is basically a national emergency. And, there's nobody that you can call once your number comes up. 911 won't help you. The FCC won't help you. Nobody will help you. And so you basically have to understand the science of electromagnetism and directed energy weapons to basically put in place effective countermeasures that will work and that will help you survive. But the current environment is beyond toxic. And the radiation levels that people are being exposed to are unprecedented. And now we're seeing, the cancer rates explode, and we're all just hoping it's the vaccines, but it's not just the vaccines. And there is a serious cause and effect relationship between EMF exposure and health-related issues. And it's one thing to be blasted by 5G in an urban environment, and it's another thing to get hit with military-grade energy weapons. And that's what these cell towers are. They're a Trojan horse parked in everybody's neighborhood, picking people off little by little, making it look like natural causes. But this will accelerate, and it'll become basically disease X as soon as they want it to be. We already know that the pandemic was synthetic and artificial in nature. Disease X will be so as well, and it'll be instigated at the push of a button. And so, time is running out because 6G is on the way. Disease X is on the way, and if you don't have this type of shielding to protect yourself, you're probably not going to make it. And we need everybody on the front lines to fight this system. So be sure to check out this book, Transhuman Genocide, on Amazon. If you're listening to this, you are the resistance.